Hello, people of the internet, and welcome to episode 3 of Rally Peru Time Trial, where today I have a Corvette DX. Admittedly, I could have gone with the LX, but that was 5 kilograms heavier with the same engine, the 1.5 litre engine I've got here, making 99 horsepower, and a decent amount of torque as well, but nothing too crazy special. The rear seats on these cars have always seemed a little strange to me though. They could just surely move them back a little bit and give you loads more legroom, but they just don't. I don't get it really. I honestly don't. But anyway, we can hopefully get to the interior view, and I should be able to set off in 3, 2, 1, and a go. There we go. I like how the handbrake goes off automatically now. This is a manual transmission variant of it. There was various autos, and I could have even got a Leaderboard auto, but to me, it just doesn't seem in keeping with today's theme, which is budget performance. The budget was 2,500 credits, so you can't buy much for that, and this seemed like just about the best kind of sporty regular vehicle you could get. There is more interesting vehicles to come, believe me. I found some for such tiny money, but this is not bad. I mean, the reason I chose it was it handles very nicely and it's got a decent power to weight ratio, if not the best. And you'll see around here we are pulling decent speed for what is just an economy car. This isn't even a ZXi, let's be honest, so you don't expect great things, but the Corvette does hold up well in its lower trims, even if it's not the very quickest car in the world. What I'm worried about is the lumpy section where it will probably fall short, and it's unlikely to be a crazy fast car which can just float over those bumps. The front-wheel drive driveline is just vulnerable. There's no escape from the facts. We saw what it did to the Leaderboard in episode 2, although, actually, episode something or other. I don't think I'd get that take, but anyway, it destroyed a Leaderboard front-wheel drive car with loads of power, and it destroyed another one, slightly on the front, I think, in episode 2, although not enough to debilitate it since that was a rear-wheel drive Leaderboard, so it did keep on going reasonably well. And there's me talking. This is an easy vehicle to drive. Another reason I like it, it's good accessible performance, and it's fun, yet not so crazy fast that you're easily able to throw it off a mountain. You'll see there, I was being a bit stupid with my line, but the car can just take it. It's easy, it's front wheel drive, and it's very forgiving. More forgiving actually than that ETK I had, and believe me, that was a nice car, but this is far nicer to drive just because you don't have to deal with the same levels of power you did with that. And it's coping with a bump surprisingly well. I always remembered these being quite firm cars, but coming back to this, it's doing a lovely job of soaking up the bumps on what is just very basic standard suspension, really. These were never expensive cars, even when they were supposed to be fun from the early 90s and maybe late 80s, I believe. So it is holding up very well indeed. Can we pull along here? Yeah. Third gear. The automatic version is supposedly quicker, but as I say, I don't think it's really a sporty car. By that logic, I would have gone with a V6 Leaderboard, but it would be slightly repetitive from episode 2, and, you know, I've not done a Corvette yet, so that would always be the more interesting decision. Plus, it's an incredibly sporty car, which, for low-budget sports cars, is what I want. I'm surprised how much power is available though if you look for it. We're getting 99 horsepower from this car, and that's without spending a huge amount of money. Imagine how much power you can get spending loads of money. Well, you can get a lot more, but the fact is 960 kilograms and just under 100 horsepower. It's a pretty good combination, all in all. I could have chosen the 5 kilogram heavier LXi, but I didn't because it seemed to be, from a track performance perspective or off-road performance perspective, exactly the same car, just with, I don't know, some extra fancy radio or something, which you really don't need in a rally car. And can we brake into here? Yep, I'm going a little wide, but that menu's come up. Oh, I'm not liking the feeling of this. I think I'm in too high a gear. Come on. If it can just find the power, it should fill the gear and get by just fine. But that is concerning for the worse hill, which I've called the oil crisis, because it just ate all the pony cars last time. It would be quite amusing, mind, if a fairly low tier Japanese hatchback can do what they can't. It would even further prove my point of it being an oil crisis, in that it favours small, light cars in the same way the actual fuel problems of the 1970s did. It made, especially Americans, consider smaller, lighter vehicles with lesser cylindered engines, which I guess was a shame in many ways, because it made American cars much less interesting, and I don't want to over-rev damages. And this is the part, though. This is a part where it gets some wheel damage, and second gear is probably a better point to be in. Come on. Yeah, I'm trying to put the power down. The open diff does not help at all here. Now, the cover is reasonably tough, but as I say, it's a lot of abuse for the front to take. The front has to do everything here. I'll try and be a little more gentle round the corners. Try and be a little more gentle with my steering inputs, as not to pressure it too much. Maybe a little more gentle under the brakes. But I don't think there's much I can do. Oh, yeah, that's a scary, scary bumpy section there. That could have damaged something, but it still feels good. It still looks intact on the front as well. The ETK that I had in the first video, I could see some damage to the front when it was time, and that was a fairly nasty rack on the front. I think I have to be careful of those. As I say, I'm going to try and be a bit more gentle than I would with your typical rear driver. But it's just so much fun to throw it round here, you know. It's not like you wouldn't enjoy this. Well, your spine wouldn't, but the rest of you would be enjoying the crazy, crazy experience. And it's not a really expensive car you have to worry about or something. It's not like you've taken a 1950s Cadillac and done it. You're doing it in a cheap Japanese hatchback, which is ultimately replaceable. Even if I don't prefer the modern stuff, you must admit they are plentiful. If you did just want a cheap replacement, you could just get a Toyota Yaris or whatever. So it's not the kind of car you're going to worry about. Not that you can get the Yaris in this game, but the point remains that they're not really extremely rare cars. Ow! That was painful. I think I might have bent my wheel up or something. It still handles okay. Slight veering to the right now. And slight struggle to put power down, but I think I can get over that. Yes, there we go. It kind of grew into the gear. Yep, it's not doing too bad. I think I did play around with a rally cover on here, so I guess it has that on its side. It's not going as crazy quick. It doesn't have the same pressures on it as that vehicle, so that gives it slightly more of a chance. Oh, that was quite nice, actually, the way I rebounded off that wall and brake into here. I have to say, it doesn't feel too bad. Problem is, when I did test around with a base model Leaderboard as well a long time ago, that would feel okay until the moment the suspension was gone and it was scraping the front on the floor. And I don't know what's going on here. Maybe it is scraping the front on the floor, and that is not what I want. Maybe, just maybe, I will make a lap and I will get a good lap of it. I've not fallen off, as you've seen. As I said, it's an extremely, extremely easy vehicle to drive, but there's no denying it's not going to be as fast as that ETK, because the ETK was a high-performance rear-wheel drive race car, even if it doesn't brake as well as this due to the tyres. You know, just the speed it had, there's more of it, and I'm going a bit close to the edge there, but it's okay, actually. Can we? Yep, we can pull around here. There's not too much understeer. I'm noticing that for the kind of vehicle it is, which is a very basic front-wheel drive, the understeer really isn't bad at all. And this is the oil crisis we're heading up to here, so all I can ultimately do is just hope. The differential won't be helping me, nor will the engine, but the low curb weight just maybe. Oh, come on. And although... Oh. Yep, although that has not been a perfect one up there, we have made it, so the oil crisis statement stands true. A little Japanese compact can make it up there, but not the big American stuff. It does tend to be a weight thing though, I did notice that fairly early on. And this has survived the lumpy section. I'd dismissed any front wheel drive. I honestly thought it wouldn't make it up the hill, but it has. Which should theoretically mean I can get a lap with this, and it's going to be the best front wheel drive just because it will be the only front wheel drive presently at the top of the table. Since I did, I believe, have another, have I? Well, whatever I did in testing, it wouldn't get to the end, but this will, and it didn't feel good over there, but I think whatever the frontal damage is, it's not bad. And I did say it was veering ever so slightly to the right. Now, if it still is, I'm not noticing it, because it's just feeling straight again. I mean, maybe it was just a bit of a bump and it threw me off and I started imagining things, but it's definitely not a bad handling car, even after it's been through a lap. Maybe I could do 2 even, although I'm not holding out massive hope that it is still a front wheel drive. Just because it made it once doesn't mean it's going to make it again. The heat is doing okay. Oh, eek. Heat is doing okay, so that's a very pleasant thing to know. Going for an explorational moment in the grass. I can floor it into second gear. I'm noticing I seem to be spending a bit more time in second gear, but it could just be because it's a hilly area as opposed to because it's not really got a front end anymore. It does make a really nice rally car, this though. Low tier, no doubt, but it does make a very nice entry-level rally car. Oh, that was a bit of a fly. Third gear though, and it's holding it strong in 5,000 RPM. First gear now. I did push a bit wide there, but the way it made it over was just fine. Second gear, and revs drop, but that's not good. Yeah, from a handling perspective, it doesn't feel like there's anything wrong with it. And I guess on the second lap, I can really start throwing this thing about, because by that point, I've got nothing to lose. First lap has been very, very good, so if I could get a better second lap, there's no reason I shouldn't try. Third gear now, I think, and as the terrain flattens out and we approach the finish line, we should be able to pick up some incredible speed for the type of vehicle this is. 70 miles per hour off-road in a basic car. My front window hasn't gone yet, but I guess it's going to pull an ETK and it'll go a moment before I hit the finish line on the second lap or something. If I hit the finish line on the second lap, that is, because there's no guarantee that I'll be able to do that. All of the speed, 85 miles per hour, it is real speed, so it could be just spinning them up, but that was surprising. I've not had to get out of third gear, but then it is entirely possible, being the type of vehicle this is, that those gears are just used mainly for economy and not entirely for performance. Because you sometimes have extra gears than you actually need. Whoa. Maybe it would explain why the auto's quicker. I don't know if it's really long geared. It doesn't feel like it's hurting me, but maybe it's just because I enjoy driving it so much I don't have time to think about other niceties. The bonnet is a bit crumpled away from its original state, but still not in horrible condition. I've not crashed it. I wouldn't be too surprised if I've still got my bumper on this car even, in some way, shape or form. It is holding up like the ETK in that respect though, that everything I throw it through, the bumper, the other bits, they all just seem to be hanging on. I've not got any broken windows, anything of that sort either. So, yeah, it feels nice. And it feels like it's a real spring chicken of a vehicle. It's a strange thing to say about a car, but it does feel that way and I'm going wide, but I can recover without hitting anything major, and that's just what I love about these things. More basic covets and the sunburst even. It's, I guess, a new love I'm developing with the covet, because I love the sunburst because they were this tough, and I didn't think of the covets as being this tough, but maybe now it's turning out to be this tough. Ooh. I threw everything at it, but as I said, I've got a good first lap now with no rolls or anything, so if I get off this weird camera angle, you'll see it's a unitary vehicle. Am I seeing what I think I'm seeing, though? Am I seeing... Wow. That looks undamaged. The wheels have taken a beating, no doubt. Probably over all the bumps, and we've made it a bit of a chop top right now, but it's drivable. However, my radiator looks like it's gone, but I don't really care by this point. I got a very good first lap, and I'm pretty sure if I tried, I couldn't beat that for a first lap. I was trying, obviously, but I'm pretty sure I just couldn't shave more time off. This chop top makes it hard to drive, which has given me an idea to drive an actual Burnside chop top. Oh, whoa, 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 very close to a cliff edge there. Yeah, maybe I should change my camera angle. Nah. This is fine. What could possibly go wrong? I have very little headroom now, but hey, I survived, so I can keep going at ridiculous speeds, as any sensible person does. And I feel that's impacting my speed, so I'm going to change, because I had to slow down to make sure I wasn't doing anything stupid, and yeah, I don't want to be slowing down for those reasons. Come on. Oh dear. Yeah, it's now like a real rally car, you can see. I'm not having a hard time at all with this. This is the easiest vehicle I think I've driven. There's just no danger at all. And I say that as the radiator's probably about to spray fluid right in my face, but really, there is no danger to driving this fast. I do want to just overheat it now. I mean, I know it's not going to make it to the finish with this radiator damage, but it survived a one, no damage at all. That was of really serious significance, and yeah, I guess it can take that as a compliment. Given my doubt of the front-wheel drive driveline around here, it has really proven me wrong. It's proven a front-wheel drive can in fact be a capable driveline, and can in fact set some nice times while being lovely to drive. And that's not really overheating my radiator as much when I keep it in the lower RPMs, but I'm liking it here. I'm liking it in 4,000 to 5,000 RPM in third gear. It was very stable through that. Ugh. Come on, through here we go. Not the typical way to take a corner, but the way I will. We've got an uphill section around here. That'll help overheat the radiator. But it just doesn't want to go. Come on, Covet. Why won't your radiator go? Are you going to be the toughest vehicle in the world? Well, admittedly, with what I put that ETK through, it was an amazement the radiator survived. On this, it hasn't survived. So, I guess we could take that as a compliment to the ETK. This is what a normal car's radiator does when you treat it as I have and throw the vehicle about, crash it and all that stuff. The ETKs just didn't go. Whoa! Accelerate! That was fun! That was fun in a very scary way. Understeer! How am I making this? I shouldn't be. I shouldn't be doing this. Especially not with a damaged vehicle, which is overheating like mad. Yeah, the poor old Covet didn't deserve it, but I'm doing it anyway. And I like this thing, but I'm still not liking it enough to avoid bullying it, presumably. Piston wing's damaged, but we're on this horrible dirt section, and I can finally carry some wheel speed into it like I didn't on the first lap. As I said, I don't think I could beat the first lap, but it was very, very good, so it would be hard to beat that. You see, I tried to carry more speed on this lap, and I just crashed, so that's what happens. The oil is overheating. Yeah, I can imagine this going to the garage in Car Mechanic Simulator. I was just driving my car perfectly normally and it blew up. Yeah. Come on. Oh. You still going? Really? No, I think we need to back up. No. There's a chance it'll work. Come on, one more try. No, I think it's gone. Well, there we go. Both the front lights are broken with my treatment, let's be honest. That's not an entire surprise. The rear lights have survived, as have the bumper. Has the bumper, should I say. And yes, it's a very, very lovely, car to drive. I'm proud of it. Let's take a look, though, at the monster that resides under this bonnet. Ah! No! We're not going to see the bonnet like that, car. Stop fooling around. Oh, come on. Yes, on your wheels. There you go. Yeah, that is the engine. Nothing special, but it did the job. And it did the job for over a lap. And it did the job while being tortured with a failing radiator. So, I'm proud of you, little Covet. Moving on. Okay, so if you thought the power to weight ratio of the Covet was good, this is even better. It has more power, about 120 horsepower or something. Torque, I believe it should be more, since it's a 1.6. It's a slightly larger engine. Yeah, larger despite the vehicle being this tiny. And it has rear drive, so the bumpy section shouldn't be too much trouble with it. It is a GTZ, in case I haven't mentioned it, but not a GTZ all-wheel drive, and it is the truck variant. Since this is the very maximum I can spend on the budget, the all-wheel drive is more, but I've still got the top engine, so I think it should be good. Anyway, I will be launching in 3, 2, 1, and a go. Come on. Oh, there we go. Lovely, lovely. I say that. It's shaking me about all over the place. It is also a ladder frame, in case I hadn't mentioned. The Covet was a unitary. I'm not too certain how that will affect the time it sets, but I'm hoping it should make it tougher over the really rough sections where it shouldn't be so good as a unitary. It's a truck anyway, a mini truck, so how would it be a unitary? They would have to do some pretty neat engineering. It would be possible, but they would have to do some quite neat engineering to get it that way. Can we accelerate? Yes! Lovely, lovely grip. Oh, I'm slightly scared of it tipping over. Not that much, but it's no Malooch, but I'm still more scared than the Covet, I guess. Oh, it's more likely to behave irrationally because of the way it's set up. It's got quite a stiff rear end on it, being a truck, and rear drive as well makes it more unpredictable. The fact that it's faster makes it more easy to make mistakes from my perspective, even if a vehicle is better. As we saw with the ETK, I was making mistakes all over the place because I'm not a very good driver. The Covet could cater to me being a good driver, or not a good driver, because it was so easy. Oh, you see, if you get this right, though, the speeds you're capable of are just incredible. Like, you wouldn't imagine for such a tiny Japanese pickup truck. It is essentially a all-wheel drive or four-wheel drive Pigeon, depending, or four-wheel drive or rear-wheel drive. Yeah, I got there eventually. Version of a Pigeon, depending on which variant you choose, and I was uncomfortably close to the edge there, but I did eventually recover it. Yeah, it feels like it's got the same gear ratios as the Covet. Oh, but it really flies. No. Come on. I'll say it now, that could have been a lot worse than it was. I'm not sure what mechanical damage I've done, if any, but I didn't throw it off the cliff, so that's always a positive in keeping the lap time good, I guess. Oh, come on, wobble, wobble. Yeah, it feels a little wobbly at speed. I think that's just me getting scared of it now. It has thrown me over once. Admittedly, that was equally me going to a walk, and I'm keeping it in third out of this corner. Makes it a little easier to control. Can we maintain the speed? Yeah, 70 miles per hour there before I need to brake. Oh, this is by no means a bad handling car, and it was nicer than the Covet round there just because I was able to use the power to push it round, whereas the Covet, you kind of got into an awkward front-wheel drive situation. It's not too bad. Given I'd rather have it sliding than rolling all the time, I'll say that now. Whether the hills would rather have it sliding than rolling, they definitely would not. They like your car to have loads of grip and the engine above the wheels, so you get the traction and you can climb up them. Or probably mid-engined is ideal for climbing the hills, if I'm entirely honest. So this is not going to be ideal there, but then, as I said, on the Covet, it did favour lightweight vehicles, so that was able to do it even without much power. This, provided the tyres aren't too dreadful, should make it without too much trouble. I'm not certain, but I'm pretty sure it will. If this doesn't make it up the hill, I would be incredibly surprised that it wouldn't, and I would see problems with everything in the world. Probably go and scrape my nails on a chalkboard just to annoy myself. I don't even know. I'm not making sense anymore, and oh dear. I felt like I was going to drift close to the edge there because the hills here appeared to be pushing me. I think this is driving straight though. I think it was just me imagining it. I think it was just my fear getting in the way. It really doesn't drive too bad, oh dear. Although, that bump was very disconcerting. I did not like that one bit. It did ultimately stabilise itself, but I think it's just because it was in a reasonable position to do so. Had that been on a more dramatic piece of terrain, or had that been on a more challenging piece of terrain, should I say, it would not have been so kind to it. But we are going one roll so far, one kind of tumbly roll, and I didn't fall off a cliff, so that is progress, I guess, on what I could have done. Oh, you'll see here, it does not like the bumps, but you've got a ladder frame car. You should be able to manage. If you can't manage, I don't know what to say. I might just go and cry. No, I won't cry. It's not my personal car, so I have no reason to cry, but that bounce was not very nice. Or was it more of a jounce? Oh, bubble, 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 bubble. Oh dear. Yeah, as I say, disconcerting is probably the way this car feels over bumps. On a flat terrain, it's not too bad, actually. Once you get used to the fact that it's far quicker than your eyes might believe, it's just getting used to this over bumps. It's not refined. I can't pretend it's refined because you can see it with your own eyes that it so clearly is not a refined vehicle, and it's probably the very opposite of refined. It's very firm, not what you want. You want a car to be kind of firm over this terrain, but not as firm as this is. I think it's done to stop it tipping over. I'm not saying the mod is crazy or anything. It's done to stop it tipping over, I believe, which is perfectly reasonable because presumably you'd rather get to your destination alive and slightly uncomfortable than, you know, in the side of a sign. Whoa! I had to say something, didn't I? Oh, I really thought I'd fallen off there as well. Please be okay, vehicle. I think it is. Oh. Delicately try and get around here because it can sometimes be difficult recovering. Oh. Wasn't sure what it wanted to do there. Yeah. Oh. Please recover. Yes. That was a pretty amazing, impressive recovery. Yes, indeed. I think we should be able to push it through here a bit. Oh. Dearie me. I'm not liking how it feels one bit. I feel like I can tip over at one moment, at any moment, and as you see I did back there. Felt like I could fall off a cliff there. Oh dear, my heart is racing, it's so scary. Why? Why must I be in this situation? Oh, and I've spun. That was actually a refreshing change from the fear. Maybe it gave my heart a chance to slow down from all this dramatically painful action. The door's been just forced open by all the aggressive shakes and rattles and rolls and everything. I just want to get off this terrain, honestly. If it makes it a second lap, this will not be comfortable, that's for sure. It'll be at least as uncomfortable as the first lap, possibly even more so. Maybe if it had slightly softer anti-roll bars, it would be so much nicer to drive over here, but I'll admit it's not designed to be driven at speed over this terrain. And remember, this is a GTZ, so it's probably more firmly sprung than a regular one. A regular one as well, which would be carrying the speeds you would expect from this type of vehicle. They're going a bit wide to the edge. Too fast. But I'm trying to maintain that speed anyway. Oh dear. Come on. How did I not fall off then? I am not too sure, but I didn't anyway. I don't know. It's scaring me. I'm talking, but I'm talking out of fear. I'm talking because it makes me feel less scared of this if I can distract myself from it. But at the same time, I don't want to distract myself, because if I distract myself, I fall off a cliff. Oh dear. Come on. Yeah, please, you can make it up this hill, but honestly, I'd rather not roll. That is the truth of it. Come on. Flooring it right now. I think we're going to make it. A bit of a struggle near the top, but we did make it up. And that should mean we'll get a lap. We're getting away from the really, really horrible lumps now. We should be getting onto the flatter terrain where we actually want to be. There we go. Whoa! That was very dramatic. Whoa. And I don't know how to use a transmission, apparently. I don't think I've pulled the wheel off, which is really remarkable, given my luck with that. Jumpy bump. Oh. Come on. Yeah, I'm kind of impressed and terrified of this thing is the best way I can describe it. Right, now we're definitely off that dirt. Should be getting onto a more stable terrain. If we're not on it already. Oh, that was not stable. Oh dear. I'll give it this. It has held up. It is tough enough to hold up. Despite when putting it through. Ooh, it went really well through that water, actually. I thought that would trouble it like it did with a Covet, but it didn't. It was just perfectly fine with it. Ooh, come on. Speed. I would use speed, but I'm terrified. Ooh. No. No, no, no. That was reasonable, the way it turned me around there. Something feels wrong with my rear wheels though, like it's spinning the car to the right whenever I accelerate. I can just about contradict it, but it does feel like it's sapping speed from the vehicle, and that is not what I want to happen. Ooh. I got to carry a bit more speed there. Whoa. Boing. Oh. Okay. Can we recover from this? I think we might be able to. It sounds like a tractor. How have I only just realised that? It does sound somewhat like a tractor. Come on. Yes, the speed! Oh, big, big break. I know if I just go over a crest too fast, this will turn into a nightmare. Well, more of a nightmare than it is already, that has to be said. Oh. How am I staying on the wheels? Come on. I think a wider track as well. As I said, firmer and softer anti-roll bars and a slightly wider track as well. That would really help with the handling of this off-road. As I say, I don't really know. I'm not judging this on the terrain it was supposed to be judged upon. But it's just some vague criticisms, and all the dials are in the wrong place. How have I only just noticed that? I don't know, but they are. Ooh. Come on. I think we're going to make it. How on earth is this thing still going? Vehicles always find a way to surprise me on here, in one way or the other. The surprise with this is how it always manages to terrify me. Yeah, it's not actually cracked the windscreen. It'll be funny if we make it further than the Covet without cracking the windscreen, despite this thing being far more uncontrollable. Yeah, I just hear a crack. It's like, it's trying to make me scared now. You know what? I'm actually less scared. This is a place where slightly steering to right isn't as much of a problem, but I need to lift off a bit because it's getting quite vicious. Yeah. I'm not using full power, as you can probably quite obviously hear. It's just a way... I'm kind of disconnecting my mouth at this moment. Just trying to disconnect my brain as well. Just going right from my eyes back to the input to try and get the exact input I need to keep this thing stable. This is a really daunting task, trying to keep this on the road. There we go. Come on. Can we manage this? Oh. Speed. Ooh. I managed to slide that quite nicely through there. I'm interested to see, though, how damaged this is at the end. But I might not get it up the oil crisis again, I will admit. It may just get to the oil crisis and it may be too damaged to do anything about it. But I really am not too certain. Oh. Come on. I'm finding a way to use the power now without hurting my time too much. Oh. I just have to be very careful because it gets squirrely very easy at the moment, but I can maintain control. I may just be finally pushing this to the very limits of what it's capable of, whereas I weren't doing that at the start. That may be a possible explanation. It's hard to say, but I'm pretty sure it's in worse condition than it was at the start. Oh dear. If you applied the power at the right moments, exactly, you can use that on your advantage. Like, you see, that's what I'm doing when it begins to get squirrely. I carefully apply the power, and it's able to just slide it. Just so eloquently where I need it to go. And then sometimes just kind of tapping the power to give it some, but not a huge amount, can sometimes help. Oh, come on. Speed. I don't know. The nightmarish speed of this thing, combined with the lack of grip, is not good. I don't know what more to say on it. This is a huge nightmare to drive. The price, that was it. That was what I was going to get onto. You get incredible speed for your money, but at what cost? At this cost. At the cost of being able to use that speed. Although I suspect this may still be quicker than the Covet. I'm not certain. But I suspect driven properly, one of these could be quicker than the Covet. It's hard to say, to be entirely honest though. The Covet was so forgiving and I could just carry so much speed through the corners. This, if anything, it's good for outright speed. But even then it's struggling now on the second lap because something is damaged back there. And that is affecting my ability to drive straight. God, going a bit wide. Oh. Nope. I tried flooring it there. Didn't quite pay off as I'd hoped, sadly. And can we manage this? Oh, speed! Save me, speed! No, save me, speed is not what you want to cry in this vehicle. Speed will not save you, it will throw you off a cliff. Yep. It's easy to watch this though and say, why can't I just use more power? But that's because I'm having to think of this live. I don't know what's going to happen if I apply more power. Sure, it may technically be possible, but I just can't calculate in my head how I would deal with that kind of ordeal. I can't calculate in my mind just how I would counteract it if it did suddenly go mad and I was going at too high a speed. Oh, come on. Same problem as before here. I'm getting pushed to the outside. Whoa, but I know it's nothing too major and I can just drive to the inside again. It's just a slow picture of the road, if that's even a thing, that I can use. Oh. Well, that caught me out. Just spin it around quickly. Probably the best thing I could do given the circumstances. Because trying to reverse would have actually taken more time. That's what happens when things go mildly wrong, though. When they go majorly wrong, I'll fly off a cliff. I'm terrified of this thing enough, though, that I don't think that's going to happen. I don't think I'm going to fly off a cliff because I know when the rear end starts to go and I just lift off. It at least makes it clear when it is getting angry at me, so I know how to deal with it. And as I say, something is a bit broken at the back. This section will not be kind to that part, whatever it is. Oh, that is not feeling nice at all. But I dare carry more speed than I dared on the first lap, I think. Just because I know that as long as I'm not making any sudden turning inputs, it will track fairly straight over this horrible, horrible terrain. Come on. Ooh. 63 miles per hour. Delicately, delicately. Oh. Who put that rock there? Yeah. Come on. One camera. Oops. I may have torn the door off. I'm pretty sure it was coming off anyway. Right, the bumper's off. Maybe it's something on the front that's gone. I don't know. Come on. Yeah, there's the door just trailing around. Oh dear. Come on. Accelerating in second gear. Yeah, you can easily just try and overdo it though. I think the first lap was good enough, honestly. No really major spins, no flies off the track. I think I did a good enough that I'm happy with it. I don't think this will be any quicker anyway because when I tipped over there. I could be wrong though. Mind. As I say, I'm learning to use this vehicle, but I'm also being daring. Maybe a bit too daring in an attempt to chop off as much speed as possible from the time. Come on. Oh dear, didn't get good traction through there. Speed and brake. Boing. This is so painfully terrifying. I have a wooden steering wheel, but it's still painfully terrifying. What little luxuries this has are not helping me right now, that must be said. Come on. Oh, I want to jump. Oh. I know I shouldn't have, but it just seemed so much fun at the time. Oh dear. I counter-steered that to the right. I was scared it was going to tip over. So I felt I had to do something. Was that a bump or something? I don't know. It looked like something that had fallen off. The door's hanging off there. Just still hanging round there. Come on. Speed through here. Ooh. You'll see here though, it is getting really horrible bumps at times. And oh, that was close. That was close to the edge. Closer than I would like. But as I say, I think I'm not going to throw it off the edge because I know what to do with this thing. Vaguely, at least. I know enough what to do with it to keep it under control and to keep it under what I want to do. Yep, there we go. That was an odd way to enter and leave a corner, but I'm happy with it. It felt fairly quick all in all, and we can speed out of it right here. There we go. Very smooth through there. Smoother than I would have thought. And yeah, as I say, this is not a nice section. Ultimately though, what's letting this down is it's just too firm. But as I said, it's the roll and the firmness, it's hard to balance because whenever you try and balance it, you always end up with either too much roll or too much stiffness. You might get away with the stiffness on a track where, as I said, this may be more at home, but this is definitely not a track, or at least not an on-road track. It's a kind of an off-road trail. It's probably the best way I can describe it. Oh, yes. Speed into here. Whoa. Yeah. This feels like the nightmare vehicle of my summer car. I'm just thinking if this was in my summer car, I would probably go and hide in the sawmill until they removed it in the next update or something. Probably not, but you know, exaggeration is exaggeration. And here we're coming up to the oil crisis. Will the oil crisis claim the victim? Well, kind of not claimed it because I got through on the first lap. Floor it through here just about. We'll keep as much speed up as I can, and we're making it. Just about. Struggling a lot more than I would like, and I don't think we're going 29 really, more like 3, 4, 5 miles per hour, but we are up. Good, good. So, there we go. Go. And power. Ooh, boing. Yeah. Hold it. I don't want to go in reverse. Yeah, maybe I had my rear hanging off the edge there. Yeah, again, this eases me through water. That's the thing. It's really really bad everywhere. But when you get to the water, it's good. Now, I'm thinking we'll be off the worst part soon. There was one horrible bump somewhere around here, but you know, now I've got used to it. It feels like it's tracking a bit straighter, I will admit, than it was earlier. And, oh dear, I got caught out on the edge there. But it looks like speed now might be on my side. Speed into the water! Ooh! We rolled through the water. I honestly thought from the speed of those rolls I was going off a cliff. And actually, now I think to mention it, the radiator has not gone yet. What is the radiator made of? And I have to look at this. I think... No? It looks okay. I think it's just the front wheel is horrendous, and maybe it's on fire a bit. Just have a look again. No, the fire was an illusion. Ugh. Yeah, no it's not. I don't know. It's trying to decide whether it wants to be on fire or not. Yeah, this is not in a good state anymore. I think the roll through the water just did it to the front wheel. It may have already been a bit damaged, and that may have been causing the steering problems, but now it is really done. I think I can get to the end, mind. I think it's a locked differential. I'm not certain, but I think it is. The all-wheel drive version of this may be quite good. As I say, there is an all-wheel drive version and a wagon version with a little more weight on the rear. So if I use the all-wheel drive wagon, it may feel a little grippier and it may feel a little better balanced overall. So that would always be an interesting try to see how much it can or can't beat this by. So, can we speed along? Whoa! I'm not off the edge yet. Yeah, don't want to go in forward gear. That would not be good. First lap is going to be better. There's no denying it. But the fact that this is still going through all of what I've put it through, it is a small vehicle. Probably one of the toughest vehicles of its size in the game, I will admit. Pigeon may be a little stronger, but it's hard to say. The fact that we've got a tiny ladder frame as well. It'll be the smallest ladder frame on my leaderboard in these vehicles, that's for sure. Well, other than the Pigeon again. Second smallest ladder frame, I guess you could say. Smallest 4-seater ladder frame is probably quite accurate. Because you couldn't seat 4 people in a Pigeon, and then someone's going to make a mod now. I've said that to prove me wrong yet again. Hey, I wouldn't mind. It would always be an interesting mod if someone put seats like the Subaru Brat ones in a Pigeon. And, yeah, probably improve the weight balance and stop it tipping over quite as much. Can we accelerate? Yep. As I say, it's a nightmare. More so a nightmare now it's all twisted and bent, but the fact that the windscreen has survived is the most amazing. Maybe we'll outlast the ETK's windscreen. The ETK's windscreen went just at the end, as I said, on the Covet, so maybe we will. Although it's scooting all over the place now, it is not comfortable at all. I think it's just the hill combined with the horribly twisted chassis, as I mentioned. Ooh. Can we use speed to straighten it out? Probably not. Oh. Come on. Power. Oh no, I don't want to go that way. I want to go to the left. To the left. It's safer. And then I'll save that. It'll go to the left when I want it to go to the right. But I think it's almost over anyway, so left is a good plan for now. Yeah, I guess it could be at the finish line. It'll fly into one of the finish poles or something just to stop me getting a second lap. These things can happen. This is a live video, so unless I decide not to release it or something. Oh, speed, yes! Speed actually may have saved me. Speed may have saved me from a horrendous crash. Well, maybe less horrendous, but a slightly disruptive crash is probably the better way to put it. And can we cross the finish line? Yes. Yes! You can crawl across the line! Woo! Speed, again, managed to put it right. Thank you, Dr. Speed. Yeah. Look at that. It's just so twisted up now. I've put it through a lot. Yeah, there's the wheels. You can just see, pretty much one-wheel drive, like a Morgan three-wheeler. Can we turn the engine off? Yeah, there we go. And, I've reset it, but you got to see the damage anyway. So, on to the next vehicle. Okay, so here we have our third and final vehicle, a Chevrolet Caprice base with the V8. Sadly an automatic, but I couldn't really think of a better choice to use. Anyway, we can change to the interior and turn the lights off, and it's got a decent amount of power. Not a huge amount of power though, sadly, and I do think the oil crisis will triumph over this vehicle. Still, it's worth a try, so let's see how it goes in 3, 2, 1, and a go. So, as I was saying, it is a V8. I'm hoping that if it's not perfect round corners, it will hopefully not have the power to go mad. Now, I do believe this doesn't have ESC and traction control like certain high-end versions did. I just checked there, but it said nothing, so presumably there's no such thing. Although some of the Westo mods do have it. It did seem odd to me that a base version like this would. Now this is my second attempt at this because randomly, for reasons I can't quite understand, the recording just stopped working and it just stopped partway through. So here I'm having another attempt at it. Hopefully the problems I had before won't persist and hopefully I can actually drive this time better than then. You'll see I'm getting some speed up to it. Despite this not being crazy powerful, we are still getting 150 horsepower out of it, and I'm flooring it there just about trying to stabilise it, which I was eventually able to do. Not the easiest thing in the world to do though, and the automatic transmission is an annoyance compared to the Covet, which was actually very, very nice. The ETK was nice as well, but it just didn't have the suspension of this. You can tell that this is much softer, much more compliant suspension by the way it's handling. Now, if I can hopefully pick up some speed over this section, I think there's a bit of a downhill over this crest, and yes indeed there is. Hopefully we can hit 70 miles per hour highway speed, or motorway speed I guess. Finally achievable in this, as I'm tipping it into this corner. I probably shouldn't have, but if there were any pressure there it would have been on the rear wheels, so no risk of damaging the front alignment in all of that, or so I would think. Feels like it's veering to the left now, but it's nothing major by any means. Only I was having this same kind of problem before, so that is definitely disconcerting to say the least. Now, as I'm saying, the suspension is very soft and compliant, although it's not perfect suspension. It is clearly quite technologically simple. It is doing the job and it is keeping a comfortable ride over this terrain. I'm just concerned about the worst of the bumps, you know, after this part, because even the Covet was pretty good over here. It's when the going gets rough that cars really begin to show. The Crown Victoria, for example, it felt good even through the rough sections, but it didn't quite feel perfect. Have I done the Crown Victoria yet? I don't know. But either way, as I was saying though, that car coped quite well. Let's hope that this thing can, even if it's not technically a rival to that car and from a different year and everything. Spoiler alert, exactly. Now, a bit slow around there. I would like a bit more of a kick. It feels a bit too slow for my personal preference, if I'm honest. As we go through these timing gates, a bit of slop from the suspension there actually, but it has recovered and it has kept going as I would like it to. Oh dear, we're going very wide there, but thankfully it was a very flat ride, so it wasn't like I was going up a huge bump or something. It did, again, manage to recover that. I can see the pale sun in the distance. Probably shouldn't look at that for too long. Probably shouldn't look at it at all, but I was anyway. Anyway, we've got to try and carry as much speed as really possible. Really, it's more of a momentum car, which sounds strange to say, but it just is, because you're never going to have brutal speed and acceleration from this. It's just not got the power for it, and it's not got the torque. I say not got the torque. Torque isn't bad. It's just not as good as other cars. Now here is a slope. Let's see. I think I got a good drive into here, but it feels like it's struggling, partly due to the engine, partly due to the automatic transmission. We are holding some speed though. Remember the Corvette was weak there as well, so it's not like it immediately renders you useless at the oil crisis if you're not the strongest pulling vehicle in the world. I'll admit it's probably the most luxurious vehicle today as well. That has to be said. Oh dear. Dear, dear. Got a big slide. Just about recovered it, I think. Hopefully I've not broke the steering there. I think I just about recovered what could have gone really horribly wrong. And I'm back on the road now and going. It will have slowed me down inevitably, but there's only so much I can do about it. I'm pushing this vehicle, but there's only so far you can push a vehicle without it becoming uncontrollable, and ultimately I was just pushing it too far there. Even for a limited power vehicle, you can still push them a bit too much. This is a horrible section. If this is anything that's going to destroy the car, it will be this. I don't know. I'm putting words together somehow. But it's going to destroy the car if no other part of the course does, because this has tended to destroy, in my experience at least, suspensions of vehicles mainly, and sometimes steering. They don't tend to cope perfectly well. I remember the Leaderboard National, as I called it, that had the front destroyed. It kind of got away with it though, being rear-wheel drive. I'm hoping we have the rear fine on this car, as that is a very important part for putting the power down. If we burst one of those tyres, then we're doomed. I believe I had a T-Series cement mixer, crazy 5,000 horsepower thing as well. That burst all the tyres in it. It was just too much for it to handle. This I can feel is immediately better. As I said, soft compliant suspension. It's kind of what you want on this kind of terrain to deal with the bumps. Although I feel I'm pushing this far too quick. I have managed to recover, but I'll need to change the view just quickly, because that windscreen was nigh on unusable in the way it had cracked. I just couldn't see a thing through it. The vehicle is still feeling like it's handling okay though, above all else, so that's always a positive that we can take away from something being completely abused by the terrain. But it is struggling to put power down occasionally, just over how rough this terrain is. It's a combination, I think, of rear-wheel drive and an open differential is not particularly great for putting power down. There again, thankfully, the rear I think took the bulk of abuse, because I don't want the steering to get broken. And there goes the radiator, oh dear. Now I might have to just be a bit delicate. And it is veering to the right quite badly, oh dear. Something else has smashed. It doesn't seem to be overheating too quickly, which is a positive, definitely. It might help that it's a lower power engine. It's not quite a high-strung engine as some of the 60s machinery might have. Or maybe it's just a tiny leak on the radiator. It's hard to say specifically, but for a car with a broken radiator, it's not doing too badly. I do suspect I've broken one of the front wheels, though, because of the way it's handling. I can still use it, no doubt. It just doesn't like steering to the left so much. Now, got a brake into here. Try and take a the best line I can around there. And we've got another tight corner here going to the left, which it doesn't particularly like, but I was able to push it around. And yeah, the compliance does seem damaged, which gives me the idea that something in the suspension has gone quite badly. As I say, the engine's holding up, considering the radiator is damaged. The engine's holding up surprisingly well, but it did not like that hill. And I don't know whether it's just lack of traction or whether something more serious has gone wrong. It could be just that the suspension is slightly damaged and it's a lack of traction, or it could be that one of the rear tyres went and I didn't see the notification for it, meaning it would really be struggling to put power down. It could be that the front end is fine, but we've lost a rear tyre even. But as I say, I didn't see a notification for that, so I doubt that's what's going on. And power delivery should be okay. Now down this hill, well, we can pick up some speed down here. Can it handle it? Probably not. It's probably not a comfortable car anymore in the state it's in. Oh dear. Round here we go, and very nice actually through that. Don't want to keep too inside there because I saw there was a rock that could have grabbed my car. Thankfully it didn't. And I think we're getting close to the oil crisis. Oh dear. Carrying on. Yeah, I say about smashing rocks, I hit a rock. But I don't think it's going to make the oil crisis anyway, seriously. So I'll give it everything I can, but I don't have much hope for it. Come on. Whoa. Put the handbrake on. Well, I made it up about as far as I could. And it's upside down. Okay. I made it up about that hill as far as I could, and you'll see the wheels are a bit damaged. Not sure what relevance that has, but it does somehow have relevance, I'm sure. Now, try and flip this thing back over. I'm pretty sure this had hubcaps when I began, but not anymore. We don't get any hubcaps now. Can we anytime flip this over? No, it really doesn't want to go. Have we still got a headlight? Yes, we have. Still got a headlight. Finally, there we go. You'll see it's quite abused from trying to flip it over, but it survived quite well in terms of general body condition. Just if only the car could make up the oil crisis. How about the steering? The steering is fully working. It does look like we've punctured a front tyre though. So I was kind of right. A front tyre has been punctured, just not one of the rear tyres. But anyway, I'm going to leave it here and I'll say goodbye until another day.